Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the podcast, The Endurance of Labor Laws. I am your lovely host, Lesley Sullivan, and today is episode 98. We are going to take a look at the Superfund sites located in the state of Louisiana. But first of all, let me give a big shout out to my listeners because as usual, you guys are awesome. I love to see you here. So a big shout out to Ohio, Alabama, Florida, Oregon, British Columbia, Pennsylvania, New York, Texas, Oklahoma, and Virginia. In terms of countries, the United States, Canada, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Slovakia, South Africa, Japan, and Denmark. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping here. I was talking to a homeowner the other day, and they had a situation come up where their AC unit had stopped working, and they had to call out a repairman to, I guess, add more Freon or refrigerant and also charge up the unit. Well, guess what? The cost to do that went from being a normal $200 to $600 a whack because the EPA has passed some mandate that they are trying to ban or outlaw whatever used to be the chemical that was used in our AC units, and they replaced it with a different chemical or solution that is way more expensive. And so that's just another example of where the EPA tries to take over an industry and it doesn't know what it's doing, because the EPA was initially created just to kind of be a guidelines kind of agency. But unfortunately now it's punishing people and it's trying to take over the HVAC industry. So if you are a heat and air guy, just be aware of what the EPA is doing. And if you are a homeowner, you need to be aware of what the EPA is doing as well, because the cost of services for maintenance on your house are going to go up possibly by 300% because of what the EPA is doing. And what's interesting is that the original guidelines for the EPA was that they're supposed to be providing information to the public and help repair the environment. They're supposed to be focusing on the Superfund sites, but instead they're targeting citizens because they can make more money off of people, right? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to limit what we can use in an industry that they have no business being in and they don't own or operate it. You know, the industry of HVAC, heat and air and things like that belongs to the people that are actually licensed to do that work. Unfortunately, the EPA has been trying to restrict and limit what they can do, which increases the price of goods and services because almost every house in the United States has an AC unit, and you have to have a coolant or a refrigerant or Freon, whatever the word is. You have to have that chemical in your unit in order to have cold air. So just imagine that this is coming down the pipeline right now in the summer months, especially here in Oklahoma. I can imagine that Florida is probably feeling this pinch as well as Texas and any other states that get really hot. Well, just be aware that the EPA is doing these things and it's not right. Because the way that the EPA is supposed to do things, if they notice that there's a problem with the chemical that's being used in an industry, they're not supposed to ban it per se. They're supposed to help them find a replacement, and that replacement should be at the same cost or of lesser value, so it should be more feasible and more realistic for someone to be able to afford it. But that's not what the EPA is doing. It's kind of run off the rails yet again, which I'm not surprised because we have a Democratic president. This also happened, something very similar like this happened back when Obama was president, whenever the EPA during his regime, or during his term, went after diesel truck engines and diesel engines in general. And they forced anyone and everyone that manufactures diesel trucks to add this additional fluid to supposedly protect the environment. And guess what? The engines don't work as well. And then also when you have to get your oil changed, that other fluid has to be changed with it at the same time on diesel trucks. Well, guess what? It greatly increased the cost of an oil change. So instead of an oil change costing $40 to $50, it's like $100 to $150. Easy peasy costs that much because of that stupid chemical. And it doesn't even really help the engine, much less the environment. It's just kind of like, what is the EPA doing getting involved in industries that it didn't invent anything, it doesn't own anything, it's just trying to overregulate. So, again, not a good thing. The EPA can do some good things. I think they need to focus on these Superfund sites because these Superfund sites, have been a problem since before the 80s. So I think it would be more relevant to clean these up first before we start targeting people's AC units, especially during the summer months, because we don't want people to die of heat strokes, right? Because that would be really bad. So let's hope that the EPA reverses that ruling and that they start to really care about people's safety. I think that would really be wonderful. So let's go ahead and start on this list here. Again, it is the Superfund sites located in the state of Louisiana. Now, just as an FYI, the state of Louisiana does not have counties. They have parishes. So I'm not going to be giving the total population of these different parishes because I don't have access to that information at this time. But I will say this, the reason why they are called parishes and not counties is because we need to go back in time and understand about the state of Louisiana as well as the surrounding states in that area. Here's the thing, Louisiana was part of the Louisiana Purchase, which was quite a bit of land that the United States purchased from France. And so they got the name from King Louis. So Louis, Louisiana, that's how they got that name. Well, here's the thing. France was predominantly Catholic back then. Here's the thing. France is still Catholic, but it's not predominantly Catholic. I would say that maybe less than 50% of the population, less than 50% of the population in France is Catholic today, and then even less than 50% of that population actually practices their Catholic faith because France has become secular and socialist. So they've kind of gone off the rails in terms of religion. In fact, they don't have much religion over there. It's very unfortunate. And in case you don't remember, France is one of the countries that is trying to force people to enroll their kids in daycare even if the wife can stay home and be the homemaker, or if they can afford a nanny, or they want to have, one of the in-laws babysit their kids while they're at work. France is trying to force people to give up their kids to daycares, not as soon as they're born, but pretty quick, like when they're 2 or 3 years old. And basically it's like institutionalizing them. So it's really sad. Do these parents still have control over their kids? To a certain extent, but France is trying to force people that, if they have children, they have to go to daycare even when they're not in school. It's really stupid. So the government is just trying to over-control its citizens. So anyway, needless to say, when you don't have God in your country, you've definitely got dictators, and you suffer at the whim of whoever you vote into office. Whereas when you believe in God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, your country is way better, and you have way less tyranny. That doesn't mean your country is perfect, because people are flawed, people are imperfect. But at least when people believe in a higher authority, such as our Heavenly Father, they tend to not be secular, they tend to not be socialist, and they tend to not take people's children away from them like that. And they tend to not be high taxation, because if you look at the property taxes, for example, in France, they're pretty bad. So it's one of those things that their government overspends. But the good thing about France is that they have nuclear power plants over there. So they actually have cheaper energy than what we have here in the United States, which is really interesting on that, because the Democratic Party here in the United States is anti-fossil fuels, they're anti-nuclear power, and I'm like, really, like you say that we should be efficient. If you really want the United States to be efficient, then why don't we have access to all natural resources, all types of energy? But they don't honor that, and they don't want us to be a part of that. It's really weird. But needless to say, things can always get better. But hopefully the EPA, getting back to this and our podcast here, hopefully the EPA will get off the backs of the American people and focus on cleaning up the environment, because that's actually their number one job, is to clean up these Superfund sites. So hopefully they will, swing back to their original purpose and help the United States out with this, because it definitely is important. But let's go ahead and start on this list. So the first one, the first Superfund site that is located in the state of Louisiana, it is called Agriculture Street Landfill. So being that it is a landfill, we know it's going to be bad. It is located in the parish of Orleans. The issue of this one is a former city disposal area was partially redeveloped. That was stupid. With around 390 houses. Groundwater, which is not used by humans, is contaminated by metals. Soil is contaminated by lead, arsenic, and carcinogenic PAHs. Contaminated topsoil has been removed, and subsoil and waste has been capped. It was added to the list, which again is the National Priorities List. It was added to the list December 16th, 1994. The next one is American Creosote Works, Inc. It is located in the Winn Parish, Winn. And the issue with this one is soil and groundwater contamination by PCP, carcinogenic PAHs, and creosote. It was added to the list April 10th, 1992. The next one is Bayou Bonfalco. I think it's Bonfouca. I guess that'd be Falca, if I remember correctly. And it is located in the parish of St. Tammany. The issue with this one is former wood treatment operations caused severe creosote and PAH contamination of the bayou and its sediments. Approximately 1.5 miles of the bayou were rendered biologically sterile, and divers suffered second-degree burns from the contamination. It was added to the list September 8th, 1983. The next one is Combustion, Inc. It is located in the parish of Livingston. The issue with this one is a former waste oil recycling facility contained above and below ground storage tanks, associated buildings and storage ponds. Groundwater is contaminated by VOCs. Contaminated soil and waste from tanks and buildings have been removed. The tanks and buildings have been demolished, and contaminated surface water has been treated and discharged. This one was added to the list August 30th, 1990. The next one on the list, let me skip one because that one has been deleted and we will circle back to that. So let me go to one that's currently active. Okay, the next one that's currently active is Louisiana Army Ammunition Plant. It is located in the county, the parish of Webster. The issue with this one is groundwater is contaminated with RDX and TNT. Contaminated soils and sludges have been incinerated, but there is the possibility of soil contamination by VOCs, explosives, and metals in other areas of the plant. It was added to the list March 13th, 1989. The next one is Madisonville Creosote Works. It is located in the parish of St. Tammany. The issue with this one is soil and groundwater contamination by PAHs from a defunct wood treatment facility. Over 12,000 gallons of creosote have so far been recovered from a dense, non-aqueous phase liquid layer below the site. This one was added to the list December 23rd, 1996. The next one is Marion Pressure Treating. It is located in the parish of Union. The issue with this one is creosote waste was removed from the site of a former wood treatment facility in 1997, and contaminated soil and debris was placed in a containment area on site and made safe. However, erosion now threatens the contaminant area. Low-level soil and creek sediment PAH contamination may remain. This one was added to the list February 4th, 2000. The next one is Petro Processors of Louisiana, Inc. It is located in the parish of East Baton Rouge. The issue with this one is soil, surface water, and sediments at two petrochemical waste disposal sites contaminated by chlorinated hydrocarbons, PAHs, heavy metals, and oils. Groundwater was contaminated by a significant non-aqueous phase liquid layer from which nearly 1 million gallons of organic compounds were recovered. This one was added to the list September 21st, 1984. The next one is Ruston Foundry. It is located in the parish of Rapides, but it has an E on it, so I'm guessing it's a different sounding vowel. So the issue with this one is soil and slag contaminated by lead and antimony and asbestos-containing material waste have been removed to a hazardous waste landfill site. This one was added to the list May 10th, 1999. Now we're going to go over the ones that have been deleted from the list, meaning they have been cleaned up and good to go. So Louisiana has actually been doing a really good job with this, and I'm impressed considering that they have had quite a few hurricanes. So that's real impressive that they've been able to clean up a lot of this stuff, even though they've had some really tough situations. So God bless you, Louisiana. You get a gold star for this one. This is awesome. So the first one that's been cleaned up and good to go is called Bayou Sorrel Site. It was located in Iberville. And this one was cleaned up and good to go as of September 29th, 1997. The next one that is cleaned up and good to go is Central Wood Preserving Company. It was located in I think it's Feliciana, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that one was cleaned up and good to go as of September 18th, 2009. The next one is Cleve Reber. It was located in the parish of Ascension, and it was cleaned up and good to go as of December 30th, 1997. The next one that is cleaned up and good to go is Delate Metals. and I can't pronounce this parish, but it's Tangipahoa. It was cleaned up and good to go as of August 8th, 2005. The next one is DL Mud Inc. It was located in Vermilion Parish. It was cleaned up and good to go as of March 7th, 2000. The next one is this is called Dutchtown Treatment Plant. It was located in the parish of Ascension. It was cleaned up and good to go as of November 16th, 1999. The next one is Gulf Coast Vacuum Services. It was located in the county of Vermilion, and it was cleaned up and good to go as of July 23rd, 2001. The next one is Mallard Bay Landing Bulk Plant. It was located in the county of Cameron. It was cleaned up and good to go as of September 19th, 2005. The next one is Old Inger Oil Refinery. It was located in the parish of Ascension. It was cleaned up and good to go as of, that's going to be August 12th, 2008. The next one is PAB Oil and Chemical Service, Inc. That one was located in the county of Vermilion, and that one was cleaned up and good to go as of January 3rd, 2000. The next one is Southern Shipbuilding. It was located in the parish of St. Tammany. It was cleaned up and good to go as of June 16th, 1998. So that is it for the lovely state of Louisiana. I think they've done an amazing job, and they've done a really good job in that they've cleaned up the messes that the ones they've cleaned up, they cleaned up pretty quick. They only have, not too many left over, but I think Louisiana is doing really good. And considering again that they've had so many tropical storms and hurricanes, I'm real impressed that they've been able to contain these Superfund sites and also get them cleaned up. So it's actually really good news there. But I will go ahead and end this podcast. But until next time, I pray that you are happy, healthy, and whole, that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.